All right, perfect. We are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another live video from Boys Town Parenting. My name is Gabby. I'm your host, and Bridget Barnes and I go live every month on a different topic as it pertains to parenting, from toddlers all the way to college kids, sometimes even farther. A lot of the things that we talk about, like routines, are things that all of us can implement with kids of any age. So we're going to go through a list of discussion questions and talk about routines today. And if you're watching live and you have any questions for Bridget related to this topic, leave it in the comment section and we can leave some time at the end to answer live or get back to you with a comment and a tool from parenting.org. Bridget, how are you doing today?
Great. It's a beautiful day outside as we get into this spring weather. I'm just loving that. It's really my time of year. And it's a great time to talk about schedule changes because parents are going to be experiencing a lot of change as we get toward the summer months.
Definitely. Yeah. And even with daylight savings that we just had, I know that probably threw off a routine in the morning for some families watching.
Oh, me, totally off. I'm still looking at clocks like, oh, that should be changed.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, routines are helpful year round, and especially, now we're in spring and close to summer. So, let's get rolling. For anyone who maybe hasn't watched before, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like this video. And Bridget, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your role at Boys Town.
Well, I'm the director for Boys Town's Common Sense Parenting Program here in Nebraska, but Common Sense Parenting is available across the nation. We serve parents online and in person. My staff serves about 400 parents just in Little Omaha a year, and about 1,000 kids. So it's been wonderful to work for Boys Town and to provide this service for parents and for children all these years that I've been with the agency. So I've loved it. I've loved it.
Okay, wonderful. So, why are routines important for kids and how do they help in their development?
Oh, they provide structure and set clear expectation for kids, and that provides kids with a sense of security, right? And when kids feel more secure, they're more cooperative, and then their behavior is more consistent. And that helps who? Parents. That's who that helps. So parents, when kids are consistent and cooperative and feel secure, parents feel like they have, a stable home life. They have a predictable routine, and they're teaching their kids to be more and more self-independent. So all of those things are good things for parents to do. So having routines is an important component for every family.
Mm-hmm. In terms of age, at what
Mhm.
age should parents start introducing routines to their kids, and how can that approach differ based on age?
Well, it will vary from child to child based on their age, but also their personality and if there's any special needs on board. But usually parents will start seeing routines develop around 3 months, in infancy. So you start seeing a child, this is a good time for them to eat, to get their bath, sleep time, play time, depending on the child. And every kid is a little different. The problem that sometimes parents run into with a routine is being able to revise it, Gabby, when the child's age or development or their issue changes, especially if they have more than one child. And so parents really need to operate in a time range versus an event kind of routine, because that, if you have a time range, you can account for mistakes kids make or their dawdling or even their occasional meltdown. So you want to have a time range in your routine versus do this and this and this and this, because maybe not all those things are going to get done for every kid depending on their age.
Right. Especially thinking like a bedtime routine. You
Uh-huh.
think of all the things that go into that, of brushing our teeth, putting our pajamas on, making dinner, eating dinner, cleaning up dinner, and trying to fit
Mhm.
all of that into a short time frame can be challenging. So definitely picking up
Right.
what's most important and when is bedtime, when do we want them in
Mhm.
bed, and then kind of working backwards from there.
Yeah. So my kiddo that has ADHD versus a child who doesn't, he would start, I would go on the commercial like, okay, go put your pajama top on. Okay. And he would get back before the commercial goes off. And so we would start that long before bedtime was ever happening, because and it needed to just be broken down for him a little bit. So every kid's a little bit different, and that time range is way to go for everybody concerned.
Yeah. And aside from maybe overloading the amount of things we want to check off in a routine, what are some
Mhm.
other common mistakes that parents might make when developing routines that we should be mindful of?
Yeah, not setting clear expectations. Just,
Yeah.
clean your room or, do your after school activity. You have to tell them exactly what it is. And sometimes we have like, here's a little card that tells them what to do and they know what's expected and tailor that to the kid. That's the other thing. Like I was saying before, tailor to the child and their ability and needs is important. So you might have a great routine that's written down, but if that's not working for that child, you might need to get something else. So like for my son, I definitely had like more charts or something like that. So you might have a chart where you actually put it down and on a chart what you're supposed to be doing. He can follow it or something like that. So tailor that routine. That's the other thing. So set clear expectations and then tailor the routine and check in times. Oh, this is important, Gabby. Now, just letting the child go and do this task or this routine or see me in a couple of hours. That's not going to work. You have to have those check-in times. So I would have a little timer. Here you go. Have a timer, put the timer on, have the child check in several times, depending on the kid's ability and their need with you. Social skills, another key thing. You can have a routine, but if a child really has a difficult time with following instructions or asking for help, they're going to not really do well with that routine. So sometimes there at Boys Town and our parents' kids that go through our parenting classes, they'll get a social skill that they actually can put up on the wall. It says follow instructions. So if I give you a routine and I say, okay, I want you to do the routine and immediately and then check back, all the steps are there and they can't say they didn't know or they don't know how to do it because those social skills are on the refrigerator or wherever might be good for that child, their door, I don't know, but put it somewhere where kids will see it. And of course, again, important key thing, flexibility in a routine. Flexibility. So having that time range versus event is going to be very important. So expectations, tailor that, check-ins, social skills, and flexibility.
Yeah. Flexibility is huge because we might
Mhm.
set off with, I have such a good idea on the routine and in my mind think this is exactly how something's going to go. But with kids, we all know it's so unpredictable on how it's going to go. So
Well,
definitely
even
being,
for ourselves, right? Even for
oh,
you, right? Yeah.
I mean, I will
So,
start my workday and think, I'm going to get this done, this done, this done, this done. And who knows how long that one project will take versus this other. And then I'm like, oh, I think my to-do list grew today instead of
mhm.
so yes,
Yeah.
really realistic in all
Yeah.
aspects.
And it
Mhm.
makes the child feel like they let you down or they are a failure or they couldn't get it done when you crowded up with too many things. It's like, these are the things that we can get done. Let's see if we can get how many we can get done. Wow, you got more done today than you did yesterday. Or we're going to push this to a little later because now it's time for study time. So my schedule keeps moving, even though the child might not get everything done, so that we can get some of our things done, but not make them feel like you failed and you didn't do well. But no, you have another chance to do this a little later after study time.
Mhm. And we talk so much at Boys Town on the power of praise. So we've got, the 4-to-1 praise ratio. For every one time you correct a child, you praise them 4 times. And
Exactly.
there are ways to do that in the routines of, okay, you didn't brush your teeth for as long as we would like you to, but you got your pajamas on, you did this, you did that. So definitely building up the praise because especially with routines like I keep going to the bedtime routine example, but oftentimes there are routines that kids don't really want to be doing. They want to be playing with their toys or watching a show or doing a number of other things. So when we have to get them in the swing of doing the routine, building up
Exactly.
is super important.
Yeah, very much so. And you can use in our little thing, and I think up on our parenting.org site, we have a praise box up there that you can make. You can make it out of anything. It doesn't really matter. Get a plastic bag and
Mhm.
put, comments in there like, you were great today. Wow, good job. And sometimes that's good, especially for kids who get off task, that they see me putting things in their bag that they're like, oh, what's in there? Well, as soon as you get done and check back at the timer, then we can check on that, and that was really great. Or sitting, just your teenager, just saying to them, And a post-it note, you were great today. You got all your tasks done. I'm proud of you. It's a great thing that they can have that you just stick on their mirror so they know that you were thinking about them in case you're not there when they're there.
Definitely love that. So, what about days when our routines are disrupted? Maybe we're on a family vacation or there's a holiday, any big event, really. How do
Mhm.
we manage that? Obviously, flexibility is one thing we discussed, but do you have other?
Aha. See, you are listening to me, Gabby. Okay, good. Very much so. So, flexibility, I kind of say use the river and rhythm
Mhm.
approach to your routine. So, when you know that your routine is going to be disrupted for whatever reason, I would really suggest, if you can, have a family meeting. It does not need to be long, and tell everybody that the flow of the routine is going to be interrupted. And you can actually, we in your our little packet, we give parents this little family meeting routine, and then they can put on the calendar when the thing is going to be disrupted, and this is the time it's going to happen, and then it's going to be over at this time, so people know, okay, it's going to be disrupted. There, we're going to be on our this kind of schedule because we're going to go visit grandma or grandpa or whoever, and then we're going to get back. When are we going to get back to the routine? Because sometimes parents get off their routine and they don't get back to it, and it's just really, they kind of tumble down the routine hill and really get themselves off task. So kind of tell everybody what's going to happen. Why are we having this disruption? What is it going to be like? What is the change? How long it's going to be? If it's going to be prolonged, like the summer months, you may want to kind of gradually get back into the other schedule versus like a flip flop. Maybe it takes some time for kids when they've been changing that schedule for a long time. But I think there's certain things, Gabby, that I wouldn't change if I could, like getting up and going to bed. If you could keep certain things in there the same time, we're going to always eat together in the morning or have dinner together. So some things that just don't change and that give us some kind of stable component in our family life. But, things happen. Just kind of go with the flow, let people know, communicate, communicate, communicate.
Definitely. So, what about our maybe teenagers, for parents with high schoolers that are watching, and they we want them to be really managing their own routines and getting
Mhm,
to a better place with that as they prepare for college. Any
mhm.
tips for that?
I treat their routines like a job.
Uh-huh.
I really do kind of say that this is, we're kind of preparing for you to get a job in life. And I set an expectation. You need to be on time, be on task, and be open to get feedback. Then I create a process for them. Like, I'm going to give you a verbal warning that you didn't clean your room or you didn't fill up the car again, like we've asked you to do. You might get a written warning in the form of a text. I'm telling you, this is the second time you haven't taken the trash out. And then the last thing I'm going to do is you're going to have a loss of some privilege that you'll have to, earn that back by doing more things. Also, though, I give kids bonuses. They have busy schedules, have to go to school and get ready for college. And, maybe they have a job on board or whatever. So when they adhere to a routine, then I might give them a bonus. Might be something that costs no money that they like, or it might be something that does. So definitely, I do invent chore cards for teens because sometimes we're passing each other, and sometimes they're not always with me. So they have a clear expectation on a card that says this is what we're doing, and they put it back in a place that I can find it saying I did that, just like any other employee would do for me. So just treat it like a job and get them ready for that process of getting feedback, being responsible, being on task, being on time, understanding there is a process when they don't go along with the expectations that you have for them. But there's also an opportunity to praise them, give them bonuses. Yeah, those kind of things. Might be just the language that you're using with a teen is just a little different, yeah, than
Yeah.
you would use with a little person. And the expectations are more of a conversation with them, but it's still very clear and enforced. Mhm.
I think that's great, especially you could start that when they're more of a tween. So then by the time they turn 16 and have their first job, they
Mhm.
have no issues, hopefully.
No issue. Yeah, it's nice. It's
Well,
nice to have those things in place and and every kid's a little bit different. Every teen is not the same teen. Every 15-year-old is not the same 15-year-old. So just kind of know who your kiddo is and what they're prepared for. And like you're saying, Gabby, a little bit at a time. So then when they're approaching that point where they are going to get a job, they're ready for it.
definitely. So what about parents who co-parent and maybe share custody and have to coordinate routines and all of the things that come with that? How can we help children adjust to make it a smoother transition between households when maybe at one parent's house we do things a little bit differently at night than the others?
Here you go with those hard questions, Gabby.
I saved the tough one for the end. So
Well, it is difficult when you're a two-home family when it comes to routines because you can't really control someone else's house and their routines. But it would be nice if co-parents could have similar routines on similar things like bedtime and wake up time. Because if your bedtime and your wake up time is so different from mine, when the child transitions back to me or vice versa, that causes all kind of difficulties when kids are not getting enough sleep or they're not waking up at similar times. Like, Dad, we don't wake up until this time. Our mom doesn't, make us go to bed until this time. So try to get at least those two routines similar. Now, but if you can have similar routines, that would be great. Transition time. So when kids are moving between their two family home, that you put time for them to reacclimate to your household. All right. So about an hour is good that you give them like, okay, I want you to learn how to follow instructions. Let's get back to this card. Here's your card for your chore this week. What questions you have, just kind of stick around you. Let's make some cookies and let's look up, kind of get them reacclimated. And then again, communication is key, especially with co-parents, because you have that space and distance between you two. And so having a place where you're communicating, whether it's through text or email or a platform that you're using that you're talking about what the routine is and what the child is struggling with so that other parent knows. But I think that it's really good if you can have similar, but if you cannot, have that transition time so your child can reacclimate. And then if you can communicate well, then please do.
definitely. And we have so many resources on parenting.org related
Yeah.
to divorce, co-parenting, managing that situation. So we'll link some of them in the comments of this video and definitely check those out because yeah, they're all super helpful.
Definitely. There's lots of stuff up there on that. So please do.
Bridget, you showed so many good resources in this live, those printables. So if people are watching and are thinking, hey, I want to get those, how do I sign up for a Common Sense Parenting class?
Yeah, well, you can go online to our website, boystown.org, and then you'll just push where it says parent, and then parenting.org, and you go there, and then you'll see a list of different kind of classes that you can get into, and the one you want. If it's a toddler or school age, you can push that, and then it'll give you a place to put your zip code, and depending on where you're from area, you can get into a class with me here in Nebraska or other places in the US. So definitely, if you can't get us that way, call us. We're here for you. We want to serve our families, and we serve lots of different families from lots of different backgrounds and languages as well. So definitely give us a call and we see what we can do and if we can help you.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have all the information pinned in the description and the comments of this video so you can sign up. And most people I think know Boys Town from Nebraska, but just as Bridget mentioned, we have Common Sense Parenting offering all across the US. So if you're watching and maybe you find this video 6 months from the time it streams and you are interested in learning more, we do them year round. And the classes are always offered and are rotating different topics based on the needs of parents.
Sometimes they're in person, sometimes they're online, convenient for parents post-COVID. So a lot of our classes are available online, and parents get little kits that come to their house that they use to be able to participate in the class. So definitely lots of different ways. We work with schools and agencies as well. So if a school district or an agency wants to work with us, we're so happy to work with different community partners.
Awesome. Well, perfect. Thank you, Bridget, for talking on routines today.
Oh, I appreciate the opportunity, and I hope they come again when we're talking. I think our next talk is about stress in parenting. So I think that's an important topic. I hope everybody joins us at that time.
Yes, please do. And if you need anything else in the meantime, feel free to shoot us a message and make sure you like this video and share it with another parent who you think might benefit. Thanks
Yeah.
everyone for watching.
Okay. Bye bye.